So I'm gonna start the video off with this scripture just to drill home the point that anything and everything that I do, as far as teaching or trying to reveal things, is along the lines of what the scripture is saying. It is not to isolate anybody, point fingers at, you know, any entertainers or any specific people, because all of us are suffering. All of us are in some type of bondage that we need to get out of. And so that's why I'm starting this off with this scripture, Revelations 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues." That's highly relevant from whatever angle you want to take. You know, we were given instruction as a people to do certain things and not follow the ways of the world, more or less. So that's why I'm gonna start this video off, this video on blood sacrifice and off with this scripture. Again, it's not to, because in my previous video I had comments saying that, I'm bashing women or doing this and doing that, which is completely false, because truth be told, any woman that I highlighted, whether she was an entertainer or not, or, the Megan Thee Stallions and beyond, I look at them as my sisters, and their road had them be where they are and do what they're doing. Maybe they don't know this stuff, maybe they don't know this information. So it's not in my heart to want to see people suffer in any type of way. It's not to isolate, it's just to educate, literally, because the signs are there. Yeah, just going through all my prereqs, Ecclesiastes 1:9, basically saying there's nothing new under the sun. So anything that they're doing today has always been done. That's how we have warnings and from our forefathers of what not to partake in and what not to get yourself involved with. Yeah, so it says human sacrifice is the act of killing one or more humans as a part of a ritual, usually intended to please or appease gods, spirits, or the dead ancestors, such as a propitiatory offering or as a retainer sacrifice when a king's servants are killed in order for them to continue to serve their master in the next life. Closely related practices found in some tribal societies are cannibalism and headhunting. Human sacrifice was practiced in many human societies beginning in prehistoric times. By the Iron Age, with the associated developments in religion, human sacrifice was becoming less common throughout the old world and came to be looked down upon as barbaric during the classic antiquity. In the New World, however, human sacrifice continued to be widespread to varying degrees until the European colonization of the Americas. Today, human sacrifice has become extremely rare. Most religions condemn the practice, and modern secular laws treat it as murder. So the first couple of things we got to do is dodge all this bullshit. When they say that it was widespread and rampant in the New World, which was new to them but old to the people there, if they say the European colonization kind of stopped it, or they suggest that, it's safe to say, if you really are on this path and you're really into it and realize how these people, how can I say, twist their truths, it's safe to say that the Europeans probably brought that shit over here. They didn't find it over here because they're always trying to paint the picture to be everyone else is a savage, and they had these barbaric practices, so the attention will be off of them. Remember, they have to always try to make themselves look like the saviors of everything. So when it says it's extremely rare, yeah, it's rare to the public knowledge. Like, they do everything behind closed quarters, behind in the dark and stuff like that. So if they say it's rare, it's probably rampant, you know. Yeah, so those are some things that stuck out to me by reading this. But just reading this, even if it's on just Wikipedia or whatever, it lets you know that it exists. It's a thing. It's a concept. It's a thought. So we can't just throw it out the window as if it doesn't exist. And I'm building a case to bring it to I'm relating this to the entertainment industry, really, whether that's music, sports, whatever like that. That this is how the celebrities that you idolize make their way. It's either one or a couple different ways. You're going to do it by offering blood. You're going to do it by being homosexual or doing some type of perverse act. Or you're just going to totally demean yourself. And today's topic is human sacrifice. Let me make that very clear. And yeah, so moving on. All right, so before we go any further, and if you watch the last video, you kind of understand the grounds that I'm standing on when I try to point this out. Is that the deceiver works in reverse order to everything that the creator said to do. So he wants you to offer him in worship in death and offer blood sacrifices of the dead. But the Creator instructed us to be a living sacrifice. In Romans 12, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So again, I just threw that out there to touch on the fact that we are to be living sacrifices. Nowhere does it require us to sacrifice a family member or a person around us or fellow rival or anything like that. All right, so let's dig a little deeper on this this blood issue. Let's see what the importance of blood is. Blood offerings. Basic to both animal and human sacrifice is the recognition of blood as a sacred life force in man and beast. Through the sacrifice, through the return of the sacred life revealed in the victim, the God lives, and therefore man and nature live. The great potency of blood has been utilized to sacrifice for a number of purposes. Example given: earth fertility, purification, and explanation. The letting of blood, however, was neither the only end nor the only mode in human and animal sacrifice. See, again, we got to kind of use discernment here, because I know that there are several examples of the God of the Old Testament, so supposedly as if it's a different God, requiring animal sacrifice and stuff. I'm not sure if that stuff was inserted inside, of the thing. I'm not really sure. Maybe y'all can help me out on that. But sticking to the script, what God lives in, like that's what we gotta ask ourselves, and we're gonna get into that. But yes, blood is, of course, we all know that the blood, it has the life in it, even when Cain killed Abel, the Most High said, I hear your brother's blood crying out to me, and that started the whole cycle of death, really. So, the blood is very vital. We all know that. I think, from a surface, I think that these are people who don't have a natural connection. They don't have the spirituality. They're like, it's like a parasitic vampire type of effect. They need the blood of other things so they can bring forth and they can live. You know what I mean? So, blood offering. Couple things that stand out in this little passage to me is towards the end, where it says human sacrifice is intended to bring good fortune and to pacify the gods. For example, in the context of the dedication of a completed building like a temple or bridge. Yeah, pacify the gods, plural. And what else was it? Oh yeah, the nomadic tribes. In the very beginning, if you subscribe or not, Cain was deemed to be a vagabond, i.e. a nomad that doesn't have a land, goes around raping, pillaging, doing all of that. That sounds like somebody that doesn't have or had their power stripped. So again, tying into the previous, if you don't have and you don't have the spiritual connection anymore, you lost all of that. You become a purely physical being. So you would probably find yourself doing things like you already did in the beginning. You drew your brother's blood and you probably became bloodthirsty. So this practice to me is of a certain race of people, and you always got to dodge the hijack when they say stuff like human sacrifice has its roots in prehistory. History is their story. So before, again, they're trying to put it on who they deem the people to be pagans. But even if you look into the Dumna verses and all of that stuff like that, it tells these were the barbarians. Anybody who didn't agree with them or wasn't Christian, they slaughtered. Again, read things like the American Holocaust, and you'll just get a glimpse of how barbaric these people were. So again, we were required to be a living sacrifice. We weren't to draw anybody's blood or think that we have to kill anything to appease the Most High or whatever like that. Again, and I know there are different parts of the Bible where people did that, but I think that there was a misunderstanding. I don't really know. Again, it could be that they inserted their God into the Bible, or it could just be something that I'm not aware of. But just keep all of this stuff in mind, that it's letting you know right now that they did things to bring good fortune, satisfy the gods. Well, whose gods? That's like when a wicked person that raps or sings or does anything about everything contrary to God gets up on the stage and accepts an award and says, I want to thank God. You got to remember, their God might not be the God that you have in mind. I found this little passage here and it was interesting to me. That they actually, if you dig, the deeper and deeper you dig, I ain't gonna touch no damn Satanic Bible to really know exactly what's going on, but from the skimming the surface, they straight up let you know that the target of human sacrifice should never be undeserving of it, regardless what urban legend might say. Satanists have no interest in targeting virgins, holy people, or any other upright members of society. Nor is a target ever chosen at random. To do so would be both malicious, not to mention sociopathic, and lacking in the desired anger. In addition, both animals and children are specifically forbidden target. Both lack the capacity and understanding to bring such a consequence upon them. Animals work on instinct, and maliciousness operates on a level beyond instinct. Children are held particularly sacred to Satanists, and they'd consider any harm visited upon them to be particularly vile. I'm sorry, these words are kind of small on the screen. Should have made them bigger, so bear with me on that. Oh yeah, and okay. Satanists decry criminal activity. Again, even when a Satanist talks of human sacrifice, they are not talking about a physical attack or any other illegal activity. Satanists have zero tolerance for lawbreakers and support hefty civil punishments for them. Okay, I'm not even going to read any more of this. This is obviously a cover-up. Like, it's just a bunch of bull. It's like, to me, that's how the deceiver works. He's going to come out and tell you, like, for example, it's a Roddy Ricch song. I will never sell my soul. It's like, well, why would you say it then? Like, you're going to say it so the dummies would be like, oh, he said it. He's not going to sell his soul. Like, this is what this is to me right here. First off, you talk about it being sociopathic to harm certain members. It's not sociopathic to harm anybody, period, in the name of a blood offering. So you're specifying what's crazy and what's not crazy, but all of it is spilling people's blood and shit like that. And then at the bottom, if you read that, it basically says that the dude that I brought up in the last video, Anton LaVey or whatever like that, like he wasn't being specific about doing X, Y, and Z and all. Yeah, bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like everything you say, you're going to come back and say, oh, it's not literal. We don't literally mean this. And that's probably what they teach these little pinhead boys when they bring them and get them into this whole cult of sacrificing for fame and fortune and all that. That's probably exactly what they be telling them. It's not literally this, until you're too far into it. And before you know it, your daddy dead or your brother died or whatever like that. So just, it amazes me that they could even have a specification about who they target. And if y'all do your research, you'll see that they actually specify about who should get knocked off and who shouldn't and all of this other type of stuff. Because if you weren't doing all of this for the purpose of being savage, then you might as well just follow the order of the land. You know, why make a whole contrary to what's righteous? And I know there's levels to everything, but just pay attention. All right, so digging even deeper, and this is touching on what I mentioned the first time about them having specific targets that they think is all right to sacrifice. And I'm always going to try to cover it up and say it's symbolic and all that, but bullshit. It says the Satanic Bible does discuss a symbolic human sacrifice through hexing, a magical working that leads to the physical, mental, or emotional destruction of the sacrifice in ways that means not attributable to the magician. The primary goal, however, is not the destruction of the individual, but rather the anger and wrath summoned up within the magician during the course of the ritual. Anything that happens to the sacrifice is of secondary importance. Wow. I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna get to the points. Suitable targets. Again, suitable targets. The only people Satanists will consider targeting with such a sacrificial hex is a totally noxious and deserving individual who by his reprehensible behavior particularly cries out to be destroyed. In fact, Satanists see the elimination of such obnoxiousness, of such obnoxious influences as something of a duty. These people are emotional leeches, dragging everyone else down to feed their starved egos. Moreover, Satanists stress responsibility for behavior. Actions have consequences. When people behave badly, their victims should take steps so as not to be further subjugated to the abuse rather than turning the other cheek and making excuses for the offender. As the 11th ruler of the 11 satanic rules of the earth states, when working in open territory, bother no one. If someone bothers you, ask him to stop. If he does not stop, destroy him. I think that last part I could have cut off. And again, the way the final cut is bringing it up is so small. So all this stuttering, I apologize for. But all right, so let's get into this. The suitable target thing is crazy. Who gave you the right to play God? I know many energetic vampires and leeches and stuff like that. You know what we tend to do with those people? We cut them out of our life and we let them self-destruct until they have a revelation, or they burn themselves down and rise up like a phoenix. But you have no right to stop anyone's life or put any type of root or voodoo on them, whether it's physical harm, whatever. You see what it says? They put hexes and shit on people, and anything that happens to that after doesn't really matter. The point is, I'm going to summon my anger and my wrath and all of that, and yeah, I'm going to use it for gain. Basically, they're harnessing the energy, playing the alchemy thing, and using it for earthly gain and all this other type of shit like that, and they think it's justified. Who gave you the right to play God, Satan? That it's just is crazy. It's crazy. And again, I'm not reading these damn Bibles to go, satanic Bibles to go any further into it, but I do know what this living holy Bible says about wrath and anger. So let's check that out. All right, so it says anger is manifested in the individual who spurns love and opts instead for fury. It is also known as wrath. Now, didn't they just say that wrath is justifiable and that's the main source of their magic and shit like that and hexing people and stuff like that? Okay, so it says why you do it, because you're wired for it. Also, the people around you are pretty damn irritating. That sounds, on the surface like people who don't deserve and people who deserve. That's everything they just was talking about. But this site right here says your punishment in hell for anger will be you'll be dismembered alive. So that's weird, but moving along. Anger is only deadly, sinful, or bad when it is unfair, excessive, or self-destructive. The second view is that anger can and should be eradicated, for it is always destructive and never justified. Okay, so everybody's gonna get angry, of course, That's a part of life. That's a part of human nature, true. But Isn't it a little bit excessive when you have a whole system about how you summon anger and you use it to do this and that and hex people, and it's for earthly gain and appeasing the god? This is everything we just read about these so-called Satanists who will swear that this stuff is not literal. But on the flip side, it talks about people who are wolves in sheep's clothing, and this is how they operate. There's nothing new under the sun. This is how this cult that has infiltrated our culture, our cultures, and the things we do, and they go about it in a slick way. They'll actively get you to worship their ways and follow their laws without you even knowing. So again, I think it's excessive and it's unfair to deem who you think is worthy, because you got to key into what they're saying. They say that it's not, how did they say it? It's not good to target holy people or who they deem worthy, but that's subjective. Anybody, like, our adversary looks at us like we're not worthy, when, you know what I mean? So who's to say who's deserving of death? And that, like, again, stop trying to play God. But it finishes to say it should be eradicated, which is true. When you go to the let's say this scripture from Proverbs: these 6 things does the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. The lying tongue is everything I'm trying to illustrate here. They talk with a double tongue. They tell you what they're doing, but then they go back and say, oh, it's not literal, or it's only this, and we won't kill the babies and all of that, blah blah blah. But you got to read between. You got to have discernment. That's exactly what they're doing. And hands to shed innocent blood. To them, the person may not be innocent, but to the Most High, they are innocent, because if they ain't shed nobody blood, then you shouldn't be shedding nobody blood. And a heart that devises wicked imaginations. This is all from a wicked imagination, and we're going to touch on the imaginations of where this started from. I did in a previous video, but we're going to bring it back again. Feet that be swift in running to mischief, and a false witness that speaketh lies, and he soweth discord among brethren. Clear as day. All right, just to kind of bring it all home about, tying in the scripture and stuff. We just read that the Lord, the Creator, hates, all that he hates and wicked imagination. So I'm going to highlight this little pinhead boy again, this little Uncle Fester looking boy. And, it says magic. Although LaVey's ideal were largely shaped around a secular and scientific worldview, he also expressed a belief in magic. Rather than characterizing magic as a supernatural phenomenon, LaVey expressed the view that it was a part of the natural world thus far undiscovered by scientists. Outlined in the Satanic Bible, LaVey defined magic as a change in situations or events in accordance to one's will, which would, using normally accepted methods, be unchangeable. A definition that reflects the influence of British occultist, I'm not sure how to say it, Aleister Crowley. Although he never explained exactly how he believed this magical process worked. LaVey stated that magicians could successfully utilize this magical force through intensely imagining the desired goal and thus directing the force of their own willpower towards it. He emphasized the idea of magical forces could be manipulated through purely emotional rather than intellectual acts. So he's totally, everything about these fuckers is totally contrary to whether you subscribe or not. In this realm, we deal with duality of hot, cold, black, white, right, left, everything. So there has to be something said about that. And one thing that stands out to me in this whole thing, this passage right here, is it says that he never explained exactly how he believed this magical process worked. And to me, that's more of the double tongue thing. They can tell you so much about what it isn't, but they can't tell you exactly what it is or what goes down or whatever like that. But this was more just to touch on the whole vain imagination, or however the scripture put it. It's crazy. This is where all of this stuff stems from, and I'm pretty sure it was something before him that he got this from. But this, in my opinion, is the religion of the world right now. This is the new world order. You'll never know who the sources are and who's directly behind it, but we live and are subjected to these type of laws and stuff like that. If you really read the satanic laws and stuff like that, you'll be surprised to find out that the way that we live in this society, in this world, the general ideas and conceptions that we have are closely related to the satanic ways rather than the ways of the creator. So I just wanted to pull that out, especially saying that they never really tell you how the magic works and everything like this. But this little pinhead, Addams Family looking head boy, this is where this stuff, in modern terms, we know it comes from him. All right, so now that we have a bit of a foundation laid down on this blood sacrificing business, let's switch gears and look at the different gods, opposing gods of the Bible that require different forms of blood sacrificing. And in reality, I always try to tie everything into the entertainment industry, but I think this is important to show us how easy it is to actually participate in these rituals today, even though we might not know it. So Deuteronomy 18:10, it says, there shall not be found any among you that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that use divination, or an observer of times, an enchanter, nor a witch. 2 Kings 21:6, and he made his son pass through the fire, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. Leviticus 18:21, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. So all throughout the Bible, there's warnings about, partaking in everything that we previously talked about when it comes to magic and all of these different rituals with the blood and the children and all of that. Key things here, there was a name given, Molech, and we're going to get into that and see how it relates to us today. The Hebrew Bible was quite fierce in its denunciations of Molech, not simply because of the sin of idolatry, but also because of the custom of worshippers of Molech of sacrificing children to the god by fire. The Hebrew prophet Jeremiah describes with horror the ancient rites, telling us that God says they built high places to Baal in the valley of Beth Hinnom and immolated their sons and daughters to Molech, bringing sin upon Judah. This I never commanded them, nor did it enter my mind that they should practice such abominations. The Hebrew God reacted very strongly to this kind of worship. The Torah on several occasions commands the death penalty for anyone worshiping him. The text tells us that the Israelites, anyone, whether an Israelite or an alien resident residing in Israel, who gives any of his offspring to Molech shall be put to death. Let his fellow citizens stone him. I myself will turn against such a man and cut him off from the body of his people. For in giving his offspring to Molech, he has defiled my sanctuary and profaned my holy name. Poor King Solomon was also led astray by the third of the favorite pagan gods of the land, Molech, to whom he raised an altar near Jerusalem. Although the Bible tells us that God twice warned him not to, and in punishment for this, his heir would be deprived of the 10 tribes of his great kingdom. Molech was a god of the Ammonite peoples. His name seems to be tied in the Hebrew word Molech, which means king, which in turn suggests he was an older god, perhaps the Akkadian deity Molech. Like Baal, his cult may have also been transported to Carthage, where he was worshipped as the god Molech until the servants of the Olympian gods pulverized ancient Carthage. It must have been a terrifying and tempting thing to the peoples of antiquity when they saw the impressive temples of the pagan gods, the loud music, the professional priesthoods, and their claims that such blood sacrifices and exotic fertility rites could make people's lives better. The Hebrew god, by comparison, spent a lot of his career with a solitary ark drawn around in a cart. Later, he had but few holy places for sacrifice, and in the days of Solomon these were concentrated into only one temple in Jerusalem. By the humble worship of the Hebrew God, who had no images, ritual tattoos, and who rejected child sacrifice, survive. The images of Baal, Asheroth, and Molech are today viewed primarily by board school children in museums. It says the god or gods called Baal normally required the sacrifice of children. There's another name, Baal, and clearly says that he required the sacrifice of children, often the firstborn male child, by sacrifice of fire. It has been suggested that the famous story of Abraham's sacrifice of his son Isaac, when God told Abraham to sacrifice his son and then forbade the sacrifice at the last moment, was told to the ancients as a dramatic and instructive narrative which commanded the Hebrews not to follow pagan cults of the land. It was as if to say that even the great patriarch himself did not sacrifice his son, but it was only a test of his faith. And so too good Hebrews must not follow the practice of the people of the land, however tempted they were. So all of this to me is just telling you that this was a common practice. You know, this blood sacrifice, giving up your kids, however they did it back then, it was going on. And so much so that even Abraham was going to do it. Like, he felt like he was called to do it, but at the last moment, however the Lord or the Creator had got through to him to let him know that that wasn't the thing to do. It set an example, you know, that I guess if Abraham doesn't do it, then nobody else should do it. I guess that's along the lines of what this is saying. As such, Baal designated the universal god of fertility, and in that capacity his title was Prince, Lord of the Earth. He also was called Lord of the Rain and Dew, the two forms of moisture that were indispensable for fertile soil in Canaan. This is interesting to me because my antennas kind of went up, because I can remember a clip of Jay-Z like entering the studio talking about channeling the Rain Man or the Lord of Rain or something like that. He said, I'm gonna put a clip of it in there, but it's interesting because obviously we're trying to make the connection between these ancient gods that oppose, you know, the Most High, the Creator, and for a man of our time to use those words, and this clearly connected to one of those ancient gods of the Bible that we were commanded not to channel. It's some funny business going on. Also, throw this little chart in here because this was a big part of making the Bible interesting for me. A lot of times we read about, like, previously it said that I think Molech was the god of the Ammonite people, and you know, we all got to do research, but here's a chart that, you know, breaks down what these ancient names of these current people were. And according to this chart, it says that the Japanese people were the Ammonites. So, you know, that's a different topic for a different day, but if we do the due diligence and actually care enough to figure out and unlock these different names, it'll bring a whole new perspective to, you know, what's currently going on and where these things stem from and who our adversaries really are in this whole thing. You know, because a lot of people like to group in their religion and philosophies into the word or the book, but you know, doing that and being ignorant to the facts, you can easily be led astray into falling victim into these practices. But every chance I get, I'm gonna drive this point home when I'm doing these videos. Yeah, this is where Christianity differs from the Bible. Christianity will tell you that we're all the same, for God so loved the world, la la la, everybody's loved as long as they scream Jesus and all of that. But that's not what the Bible is about, nor says at all. They know that we don't read, so, you know, the cult of Christianity could tell us anything. This is relevant because all of these different nations who are amongst us in this land, in this world, have their own traditions, and it was accepted and understood by them that they would usher those things in under the name of Christianity or the Most High. Like, for example, why do we celebrate Christmas? Why do we celebrate Easter? Why do we do the things we do? Everything we do, none of that is pertaining to the script, like the book. All of these are pagan. They slip things in there really masterfully, really. And again, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. This is talking about all the nations of the world, because the Bible, like it or not, is only talking about a specific group of people. We believe that this group of people is talking about us so-called blacks or African Americans and various other different Afrocentric people amongst the land masses of the earth. And that, again, this is another topic for another day, but just to give you certain scriptures, it says to prove what I'm saying. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's clear as day. This was Christ talking. He's only sent to seek out and talk to the people of the house of Israel. Just stuff like this. Acts 5:30. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hung from a tree. That hanged on a tree. I've heard people try to twist it and say the tree is the wood of the thing, blah, blah, blah. No, that's talking about a specific people. And we all know who, what, when, and where was getting hung from trees as long as they told the story. We all know that. Another one, it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way thereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and thou shalt be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Although I have opposition of the whole out of Africa theory, these words are metaphoric. Like, Egypt means slavery, bondage. Ships could be a mental process, by possibly lying to us about reversing all of history, But again, that's just to drive home the point of, we have to know who these nations are biblically so we can know what the judgments are and what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to conduct ourselves in the land while we're serving out our captivity, our punishment. Okay. All right, moving on. So let's enough about the backdrop of all of the possibilities of blood sacrifice and all of these different gods and stuff. Let's try to bring it on home to our time. So this right here says abortion and the god Molech. It says to be burned on the golden statue. The Canaanites believed Molech would cause them and their future children to prosper. Our Molech today. So this article that I read is trying to tying things like our careers and basically the things or the excuses we use to make abortion a viable option. They're equating that to the modern day sacrificing to Molech, which makes perfectly good sense. Says, don't misunderstand. Careers are fine things to have, good gifts of God to be enjoyed. But careers are terrible gods. Go back to the opening image. Molech was a horrid god, demanding the lives of his followers' children, which we talked about, we already know, an abomination of the worst sort. Our culture may not build metal idols in which our children are burned to death, but are we morally superior? Every year, millions of unborn children end up dismembered and discarded as medical waste. King Solomon set up the shrine to Molech in the valley of Hinnom, which became the Greek word for hell. How else would you describe landfills of dismembered and discarded unborn babies? Is it any wonder Scripture repeatedly warns us to be on guard against false gods? They destroy us. And this is the penalty of not really doing your own research and us being so disconnected from the true word and what it says. We don't know how to correlate things that we read to what's actually happening today. Therefore, we think that these things are ancient and they don't exist. Somebody talks about blood sacrifice and stuff. We think that's only a conspiracy theory that's solely, how could I say it, tied to the music industry or entertainment industry. But everyday people commit this abomination on a daily. Says abortion gives children to the pagan god Molech. You are not to make any of your children to pass through the fire to Molech. Do not profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Whoever he be, the children of Israel or the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. I will set my face against the man and cut him off from among his people, because he has given his seed unto Molech, and so on and so forth. I think most of these we already touched on. But yes, this is the modern day Molech. It never stopped. It just, like technology, it got better, more clever. So yeah, the 13 days of preparation, the occult significance, all of these different things. When you do your research, abortion is directly tied into this god Molech. So when we sacrifice living fetuses, or you know, we 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 uh, we make these choices to kill life, that's a form of sacrificing to this god Molech. All right, moving along. Now we're gonna get into ritualistic killings, murder by numbers, all of that type of stuff, which mainly more so pertains to the industry. In my opinion, I really don't know if this occurs on an everyday, regular person type of level. Pretty sure it does, but you never really know. But it's, to me, it's obvious if you really pay attention to like these entertainers and the timing of their careers and all of that, and the certain things that happen around them. It's pretty obvious. But let's dive into it to see if there's anything to this. This says ritual killings. Ritual killings are relatively unusual, but sometimes bear some of the hallmarks of a serial killing, such as mutilation of the corpse or some kind of special positioning. Many ritual murders involve the idea of human sacrifice, usually for religious reasons. The term religion is, however, used quite loosely in this context, as it can include belief systems such as Satanism and vampirism. There may also be cultural, psychological, and psychosexual elements to a ritual murder. The hallmark of a ritual killing is evidence of acts not necessary to bring about death. For example, bite marks, excessive violence, and sexual assault may be found in connection with a ritual killing. Says human sacrifice is a feature of some, but not all, occult belief systems. The word occult means hidden, and by its very nature, this kind of ritual killing can be hard to investigate. Violence motivated by religion may not be a crime in the eyes of the perpetuator, but is treated no differently from any other murder in the eyes of the law. Research Research into motivation for ritual killings has shown that the practice is thought to lead to transformation, self-deification, and healing. Many people also believe that satanic human sacrifice is done as a way of drawing down dark forces. Investigators may assume that those involved in human sacrifice are simply mentally disturbed and hiding behind a belief system that seems to justify their actions. In vampirism, there is a belief that drinking blood and practicing cannibalism can help the individual achieve power, and immortality. I'm sorry. There have been a number of ritual homicides committed in the vampire tradition, some of them involving teenagers. For instance, 17-year-old Michael Hardman broke into the home of a 90-year-old Mabel Lashon in Anglesey, Wales. After killing her by stabbing, he arranged her body with the legs propped on a stool and placed two candlesticks on her body and a candle on the mantelpiece. He then removed her heart and drained the blood from her leg to drink it in a vampire ritual, thinking these actions would render him immortal. When police searched his bedroom, they discovered a large amount of vampire-related books and such on and so forth. All right, so just condensing all of these things, some things that stand out to me. In the first passage, it talked about these these people positioning the bodies in a certain type of way. It says, such as mutilation of the corpse is some kind of special positioning. That was a key. And in this last paragraph, they talk a lot about candlesticks and stuff. Now I'm gonna play a clip just to like, it's gonna take you back. Many of y'all remember Pimp C. They told us that Pimp died of a codeine overdose or whatever, some type of overdose, right? But then I'm gonna play a clip of DJ Paul describing Pimp, how he was told Pimp C was found in the room, and I want you to pay attention to how he specifically details how Pimp's body was positioned and the candles that were so-called lit and burnt down or whatever like that. It doesn't really make sense because he mentions Pimp C has sleep apnea and he lit the candles for that. If somebody has sleep apnea, I'm not so sure they're gonna light candles which let off smoke in different scents to help them. That just doesn't make sense. You do further research, you know that in these little traditions, like it says right here, candles are a large part of that whole process. So yeah, just let's check out this clip.
Called me like Sunday night or something. Pimp was over my house Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, or Monday morning or something. He's like, I got something to tell you. Let me make sure it's true, and I'm gonna call you back. Pimp's hotel, but something happened. On the phone, they said they'd tell me in person. And he went in there and saw Pimp C body. Pimp C was still in there. He said Pimp C was like he was laying down like he was praying. And but it was blood all over the bed. Threw it up, but they thought he had been shot in the head. There was blood all over the bed, but he was kneeled down like he had been praying. And the candles had been burnt all the way down. So they knew he had probably been dead for like a day or so. He always lit these candles to help him sleep. He had sleep apnea, so he always lit these big, tall candles. And with that candle to be burnt all the way down, they were like, he must have been dead for a while.
And of course, I had to like chop out bits and pieces of it to avoid the copyright claim. This is a DJ Vlad the Impaler interview. If y'all want it, all the way through, just type in, anything. DJ Paul explains what happened to Pimp C last night, blah, blah, blah. And yes, I did make that beat, by the way, too. Am I tripping or am I tripping? It's strange to me that, without him saying that, what they would tell you is Pimp C died of a codeine overdose or, whatever it was, an overdose on something like that. But here you go. You got DJ Paul telling you straight up, this man was found in a praying position with blood splattered all over the place, with candles burnt all the way down. He said he'd been dead for a day or two, but if I'm not mistaken, they said he left early that morning, and later on that day, he found that out. So how could it have been a whole day that he was at least dead? It's just, and it makes it even more strange because this is the year, and I grew up a 3 6 Mafia fan. I'll admit it. They had my mind hypnotized, and it's just funny that that's the same year that they won their Grammy and stuff like that. So is this the way that Vlad the Impaler and DJ Paul is basically letting you know that, yeah, this was a hit, And when you do the research on Pimp C's death, there are a lot of people that could have benefited from this. For the sake of time and everything, I'm not going to get too far into each individual case because it's just so much to delve into. But y'all let me know, am I tripping or am I tripping? That's just a little strange for one report to be a codeine overdose, but then you got this man over here saying all this stuff about candles. What we just read, all of those things are a part of this cult. And I think on my last video, I highlighted this Marina Abramovich lady who is like basically a vampire for sport. You know, they mask it up as art and stuff like that, but you got Jay-Z dancing with her and shit. This is how our culture has been infiltrated. Everything operates off of blood sacrifice and so on and so forth. Murder by numbers, Gematria, which we're going to get into next. But I just wanted to throw that out there to tie in, you know, those three passages and the things that they said and what this man basically just said. What do y'all think? Furthermore, just trying to tie in some more pieces to this. You know, we know the devil always come to collect. When you make a deal with him, you gotta give up an offering, whatever like that. So it was '06 when 3-6 won their Grammy or whatever, or the Oscar, I'm sorry, for the Hustle and Flow soundtrack. And it's kind of funny, like it may mean something, may mean nothing. The song was called Hard Out Here for a Pimp. um the following year, April 5th, is when they had their show Adventures in Hollywood or whatever like that. And it was later on that year that Pimp C was found dead. And it's funny that it happened in LA, you know, whatever, California, that we know that's like Satan's hellhole, his playground. And why was he at DJ Paul's house? And why was DJ Paul involved when, you know, that all of this happened? You know, was it payment for the success that they had? Because like I said, if you knew 3-6, they always was known in the South, but they never had that little mainstream breakthrough. And as a fan, it was exciting to see them actually break through, but I didn't have the mindset to even know that this stuff was happening, you know. But it's just kind of funny that these events happen how they happen. And when we go even further and we talk about these other situations, even up to today, it's always this certain trend. Like an artist is either doing something to become relevant or doing something to remain relevant. And it's never too long before somebody end up dead around them or there's something funny happening. It's strange to me that, again, you know, 3-6 won a song, Grammy or Oscar, whatever that shit is, off a song called It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. And then, like, it's just really coincidental that Pimp C was born in a place called Crowley, Louisiana. Now, that might just be a coincidence, but it's just weird, like, how that shit takes place. Knowing that this whole ordeal, this whole religion that we're exposing or attempting to expose was founded by somebody named Crowley. But anyway, moving along. No, let's break down this Gematria concept. It says Gematria is a Jewish form of numerology in which the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are substituted with corresponding numbers. The first 10 letters are given number values that increase consecutively from 1 to 10. Alright, so I'm basically finna show you how they be putting these little these artists on death row right in front of your face, and you really won't even know it, you know, because the script says what it says, and you know, they space things out, and the average mind doesn't even have the attention span to really sit down and pay attention to what's going on. So to me, it's clear as day, Mo3 was just a sacrifice for Lil Boosie, you know. Lil Boosie is corrupt at best, and you know, is taking the route to try to stay relevant, not so much stay in the game. But it's not about him. Let's just look at how they mock everybody. They mock this kid, Mo3 or whatever. If you look at this right here, the highlight, it says Mo3 on Boosie saying most rappers get killed in their own hood, city, state. Well, I don't know what that says, but we know what Boosie said. And again, tapping into the Gematria from the this website right here, I would recommend that you spend some time just if you're interested in it. It's Gematria Effect News.news. I got a lot from this website on the fly. But it says rapper Mo3 killed on I-35 in midday shooting November 11th, 2020. That's if you're into this type of stuff, you know that's 11/11/2020. Repeating numbers. 11/11 is a big number in numerology as it is, and 2020 is a repeating number. It says rapper Mo3 killed by gunmen in brazen midday shooting on Dallas highway. Now again, here you are seeing him looking like he's on death row. Like, just look at this clip and then look at what it says next to it. Okay, so on this website it breaks it down. It says, hold on, let me get closer. This thing is so damn small. Y'all bear with me. Rapper Mo3, whose real name is Melvin Noble, was 28, was killed in a Dallas highway shooting November 11th. Growing up poor in North Dallas, he exploded onto the music scene with his first 2014 mixtape. His most notable hit was 2019's Everybody Remix, a collaboration with Boosie Badass, which was garnered more than 50 million hits on YouTube. So Boosie's here, Boosie's there, Boosie's everywhere. Again, here it is, a highlight interview on him on Vlad the Impaler's platform. He doesn't even know he's being ushered up as an offering. But he's killed in his own hood, just like he goes on and talks about on this interview. Let's see down here. This is how numerology works, y'all. So if you reduce, for those who don't know, if you reduce 11/11/2020, you can get 62 out of it. And in the reduction in Gematria, sacrifice is equal to 62. And he has Faustian bargain for 62. I don't know what the hell that means, but I'm pretty sure it pertains. Even further, if we look at I-35, all the numbers that are used, 35 equals rap. It says 35 equals 7 Gali. I'm not sure what that really means. 35 reduces to Satan. It also reduces to Baphomet. He says a rapper killed on I-35 on 11/11. Yeah, clear, obvious hit. Yeah, none of this is coincidental. They waited to this date to do this. Blood sacrifice, ritual killing. This is how these people get down. All your entertainers that are on TV and whatever that you know, household names, are all a part of it somehow, some way. But next, I want to show you the further the death row process. Boosie and Mo3 on Mike Tyson's show. Mike Tyson, that's a whole different topic for another day. I really don't want to get into him right now, but it's funny to me that he had a little girl that just mysteriously died on a treadmill while he was way away. We'll get into that. But yeah, I'm gonna play this clip, and I want you to. Nobody can understand what the fuck Mike be saying, but just pay attention to the last thing he says before the clip turns off.
Right on everything, and I want people to think I'm smart because I want to be in that crowd of smart people. I want to be accepted by them. The thugs, I act like an animal, so I want to be accepted by the animal crowd, the thug life crowds, or whatever it may be. That's who I want to be accepted by, the way I conduct myself. I'm conscious of my preeminence because this is what I want to be accepted. I'm really conscious, and most people are too. They just think what they have to say means something. I have a voice, but not knowing that their voice can cost them their life.
Basically serving as some sort of gatekeeper to these so-called higher-ups that he's down with, that keeps him afloat and a household name and relevant, the god of boxing. He's basically speaking for them because what he was doing is checking Boosie on his remarks about homosexuals, and Boosie doubled down and didn't bend. So this obviously goes against the order, and Boosie's a part of the order. So you piss them off, you have to offer some type of sacrifice for atonement. We've already touched on all of that. That's just how it goes, to appease the gods, blah, blah, blah. So it's almost like a couple things could be happening here. Either Boosie knows what's happening full and well, that's why he has him with him, or it's just like, because Boosie doubled down, then, the sacrifice or penalty of that was his little homie or whatever like that. And the Mo3 kid, I remember a couple years ago, he was, introduced to me, and I heard a few songs. not my cup of tea. I'm not with niggas rapping about being hard on other niggas and never talking about being hard on motherfuckers that don't look like them or obviously are their clear-cut enemies. That shit is not hard to me at all. It's ass backwards. But anyway, I heard that Mo3 had some truth in him too. He would, stand up and say certain things about certain things or whatever like that. But it was just intriguing that Mike said, you basically you portray yourself as what you portray yourself as. That's your role in this game. But just know that when you step outside of that role of degrading your own people, degrading your women, just being, living that thug life, you had an opportunity. You fucked up when you started talking about homosexuals and shit like that. Since you don't want to, apologize or submit to it, that voice that you value so much is gonna cost you your life. Basically telling me you finna die, bruh. And that's just how that's a slick way of how it happens. It says the Knicks lose with 83 points on the day of MF Doom's death being reported December 31st, 2020. So you got this legendary underground rapper MF Doom, who was pronounced to be dead or reported to be dead on the last day of the new year. He actually was supposedly killed or murdered or whatever. He died on Halloween night, but they didn't release it until December 31st. Now, just getting right to it, it says, it says the New York Knicks lost with 83 points the same day that the news came that this guy passed away. 83 in Gematria reduces reverse ordinal to murder. And why it's relevant for the Knicks is because in several pictures he's wearing a jersey, the New York Knicks jersey with 33 on it. And when you learn more about numerology, 33 is a really prominent number. 83 also breaks down to Halloween, the same night that he supposedly passed away. And the funny part about it is he wore a mask all the time. We all know this was the year of the so-called mask. There's just too many coincidences and here it is, the picture right here of him in the New York Knicks jersey. He died at 49. 49 is it breaks down to the villain, and I think they used to call him the villain as his nickname or whatever like this. Again, I encourage you to go to this website and just check out some of these things and just read it, because this guy, he does a really good job of just putting all this together. I don't want to just read his work all the way through, but this is a good reference, and he's getting promo from me. But New York equals 33. October, the month he died in, equals 33. If you break down 12/31/2020, that equals 83. All this is just is either murder by numbers or just a outright mockery, And when I did a little bit of research on him, some say he sacrificed his son, his brother. It's so much, too many dots that just connect for all of this stuff just to be a coincidence. The mask this year, the constant use of the New York 33. It's too much just to be a coincidence. Next example, you got this overgrown baby of a rapper. The baby says his brother commits suicide November 3rd, 2020, 201 days from the release of Blame It on the Baby, his name of his album. 201 is relevant in this case because it says, of course, 201 is the number of the Jesuits who control the world of hip-hop music. And let's not forget that Event 201 was the coronavirus outbreak's simulation name. insight of this cover of his new album. So the Jesuits, whatever you want to, I'm not too fond with that name. I just call them the so-called Jews, because we all know who the real Jews are. But the people parading around as the Jews, they really control the hip-hop industry. They're the ones who are making sure these numbers fit and making all these blood sites. They're the one that has the or pulling these strings. So it's just 201 days from the release of his album. 201 also corresponds with the coronavirus hoax, and he's on the cover with the mask on. Let's see. Older brother dies by suicide. Suicide breaks down to 34. They're reporting his brother was 34 years old. That's why it was prominent. Murder also pertains to 34. Rapper in reversible reduction, Gematria equals 34. I'm not even gonna try to read that. By now we should get the picture that this is murder by numbers. Let's see. It says the name of the album, Blame It on the Baby, equates to 49. And this news comes 49 days before the baby's birthday. Let's see. Blame It on the Baby. Yeah, we said that is 49 days. You could also say it comes 317 days after his last birthday, which is the 66 prime number. 66 reduces to Cain and Abel, the number of the beast, the New Testament. Let's see. The 66 books of the Bible, New Testament, math, 66. And for one last point, he says this happens on the day leaving 58 days of the year. It's biblical. Cain and Abel, such and such. And the baby is one of them people who it's obvious. His is so obvious, from the public humiliation, grown man wearing a diaper in public, from him becoming relevant by killing somebody, so-called, and him basically riding that clout to become a household name, to the brother passing away. It's just a whole bunch of, and I did research on his story. It's obvious. Once you start paying attention, it's really obvious about him. I don't want to spend too much time making it personal, about one person. But by now, you should follow what's going on. Just the whole coincidence from, I went platinum the same day my daddy got killed a year ago, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But I think in the research, it was like the same week his father got killed was when he began touring and stuff like that. It's just too many dots to connect. I call him and Megan Thee Stallion a little sacrifice my parents to get on babies. Both of them had the same type of rise at the same type of time. And one's daddy's dead and the other one's mama's gone and all of that. Like, these people are desperate to be something. Like, and it's sad, it's sickening, but these are our heroes in our culture. All right, so by now I feel like the point has been made. I'm gonna leave you with a few more points. Like King Von, his passing to me is obvious. It was connected to Lil Durk. He was a part of Lil Durk's label or whatever like that. Lil Durk has the big summer with Drake and all of this other type of stuff, the trouble he avoided, and all of a sudden this guy ends up dead. 21 Savage pops on the scene with a hot little mixtape, and then all of a sudden his brother dies. I mean, this stuff happens all the way across the board. We could sit here all day and pull numbers and connect dots and stuff like that. It even happens in sports. Hell, I mean, LeBron James breaking the scoring record in Kobe's hometown, and then the next day Kobe dies. It's just all over the place. When you really open your eyes and you start paying attention, you realize that this is how these people work. They're Satanists. They offer things in blood, and that's just how they stay relevant. because we already did all the research on where all of this belief system comes from. That's just how they roll. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave you with this clip. Again, check out the Gematria News Effect, because this guy really, I mean, like, he really breaks all of this stuff down, long paragraphs and stuff like that. Shouts out to whoever this guy was, I forget his name. But check that out, and I'm going to leave you with the clip from, I think it's a lady, it's not my video, but she predicts King Von's death like 8 months in advance, like, you know. So this stuff is not, it's not just coincidence. It's not at random. This is all scripted. It's all orchestrated. So yeah, that's just my presentation on blood sacrificing in the many ways that it happens. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments, whether you agree or disagree, or not. Like, just, you know, let's talk about it. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the elites, just, you know what I'm saying, because I think Juice WRLD. I think Juice WRLD said it. Juice WRLD said that these rappers today, you know what I'm saying, is dying at age 21, not living past the age of 21. I think that's what Juice WRLD said. And let me tell you something. I'm looking more and more, and I'm looking more and more and more. Well, how do you like it? How do you like it? More, more. More, more, more. Yeah, it's more, more, more. How do you like it? How you like it? I think the elites is really, really knocking these damn celebrities off. I'm knocking these little rappers off. These celebrities, the elites are saying, hey, little nigga, you can rap? Come on, let me make you famous real quick so I can take your niggas out real quick. You know what I'm saying? The biggest way to take a nigga out is to build a nigga up, and then, you know what I'm saying, take that nigga out. And the elites is building y'all motherfuckers up like freaking like raisins. Y'all getting built up like raisins, and the elites saying, pow, 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 pa po pa po pa boom, boom. Yeah. Let me tell you something. It's a guy by the name of King Von. Kind of remind you of King James, right? This little nigga's out of damn Chicago. Chicago, Chi-Town, nigga. Yeah, Chi-Town. You know, there's a lot of rappers out of Chi-Town be the first one to pass their soul to the fire to Molech just to get taken the fuck out. Juice WRLD, well, I think he was out of Chi-Town. You know what I'm saying? The Glow Gang, you know what I'm saying? All these other them non-descriptive fuckers is out of fucking Chi-Town. Chi-Town! Motherfucking damn home of the motherfucking niggas that's willing to sell their soul for a freaking damn... I don't know. I'm the reason why I'm saying that, because this little nigga dropped a fucking album. King Von dropped a motherfucking album. And the saddest thing about it is, this nigga might not live out his fucking album that he dropped. Now, you heard me, people. Let me go ahead and say it again. I said, King Von is going to be dead Von. He probably ain't going to live out his album. It's going to be a tragedy. A tragedy in the world of young rappers. Because this little nigga might not live out to see the success of his album. And it's a damn shame, people. The reason why I say that, because I know a lot of people say, oh, why are you predicting people's death? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? The motherfucker's numbers lined up to be a fucking sacrifice. That's why. That's why I'm telling you this. That's why I'm putting these motherfucking damn numbers up like this. And that's why I'm motherfucking damn telling you these things. The motherfucker numbers up turns out to be a sacrifice. He dropped an album, King motherfucking Von. But I guess, you know what I'm saying, what it means by King Von. Why you name yourself King Von? And guess what? Turns out that this little nigga didn't name himself that. His name, whatever his mama gave him. The name King Von was given to him by somebody else, just to complete the freaking ritual. It's a damn shame. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something, people. If in these day and ages, if you think that, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna write $1 million rhyme, oh, I'm gonna be a millionaire, and I'm gonna write $1 million rhyme, and I'm gonna be in Hollywood, you can forget about that shit. Yeah, these elites, you know what I'm saying? They want you niggas dead. They want you niggas gone. You understand that the elites is white Jewish people, right? Let me get. Come here, nigga. Let me let you know a little secret, nigga. Do you not understand that the motherfuckers that's taking you dumb niggas out at an alarming rate, they are white Jewish people? You didn't know that? Let me let you in on another little secret. You little niggas that's being taken out by the white Jewish people are really the real Jews of Scripture. So it's no wonder why these motherfuckers is raising you niggas up, giving you niggas $1 million, and then motherfuckers saying, hey, now you're King Von? Bam! Now your name is just Von. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like motherfucking damn that dude on Lean On Me. They used to call me Crazy Joe. Now they can call me Batman. Yeah, oh Lord. King Von, enjoy your success, King John. Enjoy it. You know, kind of like what happens when you go through that casket, Rich. When you come out of the casket, what the juju priest tell you? Hey, King Von, this is how long you got to enjoy that fucking album, King John. King Von, this is how long you got to enjoy that motherfucking album you just dropped. Enjoy it. Because you might not live past that motherfucking first album. Watch what I tell you now. And I know some people say, you sound like a psychic. How do you know this? But when the shit happens, you gonna say, how did this nigga knew that this was going to happen? Hey, it don't take a rocket scientist. I've been doing this for over 10 to 20 motherfucking years. Expose these satanic motherfucking scumbags, but the motherfucker, nobody want to give me the proper credit that I motherfucking deserve. Oh, Cousin Michael Smith, he just hating. He just want to be famous in Hollywood. No, the fuck I don't. Do you think I want to walk around with a dick in my ass? No, the fuck I don't. King Von had one in his, and most of these rappers had one in theirs. Now, I won't. Pastor Michael Smith won't be walking around with a dick in his ass. Hell no. Anyway.
Yo, what's going on with y'all? Y'all know I'm back. So look, y'all just saw the clip, right? That was not my video. Let me state that clearly. That wasn't my video. That was a video I found this morning. You know what I'm saying? Not taking credit for that video. I mirrored the video. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to damn, I forgot her channel name that damn fast. Was it like Illuminati News or something like that? Shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? Not taking the video or nothing. I'm just trying to give her video a little bit more of exposure than it already has. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, y'all clearly just saw what she was talking about in the video. She exposed the shit 8 months ago. Bro, I started making videos 10 months ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was when I just said, fuck it, I'm finna just start telling folks what I already know about the shit. And she was on it predicting shit 8 months ago. Now, she was predicting it as, I'm assuming he probably dropped a mixtape or an album around that time that she predicted it. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't really the official blow-up album. You know, when... You know, an artist drop a few albums, a few projects before they really blow up. And then when they blow up, they drop that real official album. You know what I'm saying? That real deal first big album. You know, so technically, Welcome to O Block was the real deal first big album. You know what I'm saying? That was when he was, you know, peaking at the most in his career so far. You know, so timing-wise, she was a little off on that, but she knew exactly what was going on. You know what I'm saying? She knew that he was going to get sacrificed right after his big album, his first big album, which the first big one just happened to be the one that he dropped a little bit over a week ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's clear to date that we're not getting on here just talking bullshit, bro. We not getting on here just talking bullshit. And that's not the only video. Some other dude had a video that was posted 3 weeks ago. And he was talking about Dirk setting up King Von for the sacrifice. By the way, I forget everything he was saying in the video, but it's a few videos where motherfuckers already caught on to what's going on out here. You know what I'm saying? Already caught on. So when I found that, I knew immediately I was finna post it on this channel because y'all be, you know what I'm saying? bro, it ain't nothing much more that I can do to convince y'all. It's either you just seeing it or you not. You just don't have the eyes to see it. You just ain't woke up to it yet, bro. That is time stamped, bro. Look at the video, bro. 8 months ago. 8 months ago. You know what I'm saying? Clearly her discernment is very high. You know what I'm saying? Her just, very high, bro. She predicted the shit on point 8 months ago. And then the fact about it, the thing about it, 8 months ago, to the mainstream world, Von wasn't even really that big. Ain't nobody thinking about King Von. Ain't nobody even looking at him as like someone that's finna get sacrificed. And ain't nobody thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? You under Dirk, you doing your thing. Unless you really into the rap game, you really don't even know who King Von is. You know what I'm saying? Especially 8 months ago. So for somebody to have that kind of like intuition and be able to, foresee the future on him 8 months ago, bro, that's crazy. That's very telling in itself, bro. Niggas is not getting on here just talking bullshit. We ain't getting on here just making videos just to damn get reactions and just, you know what I'm saying, just to get the views and the likes. No, bro, this is the truth. We really on here spreading truth, making y'all aware of this satanic, evil, elite shit that go on at the top, bro. It ain't even much for me to say. I ain't gotta make this video long. I done did all the explaining I could do as far as the video go. You know what I'm saying? I just felt I just had to show her video on my channel. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can go check her channel out, whatever. She got other videos. Y'all can go watch that video for yourself, whatever, on her channel, whatever. So, shout out to her. That was huge. That was a huge video, for everything that's going on, to let you know I'm not getting on here just talking bullshit. I'm not talking out my ass. You feel what I'm saying? So it's people that put in time and really pay attention to this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? You got motherfuckers who gon' go about their everyday life doing whatever they love to do throughout their life, and spend a few hours watching videos on YouTube. And then you got motherfuckers who really dig into the shit, who really deep dive into the shit and, are able to kind of see the signs. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, look, I'm probably dropping another video later tonight on some completely different shit. So,